Okay, good luck with the slow descent into madness.
If you can keep up and you don't mind dying, come along.
Dance off, bro. Me and you.
You know what? There's something just extremely uncomfortable about a man your size sniffing a flower.
We're gonna need a new plan.
I'll give you anything you ask for. As long as it's not something I don't want to give.
Get off my bridge.
He is Minnesota sports lifer. He is Paulie. He's a good friend of mine on the program. Paulie, how you doing?
Doing well. How you doing, Al?
Well, good. I was thinking about you and I. For folks who don't know, you and I have been friends for about 100 and some years. I don't know. It's rounded up. It's 100 years.
Yep. Pretty much.
And we've both got sons and into sports. We probably, I don't think if anybody knew both of us, we've raised our children differently, except for this. We've always wanted better for our kids, correct? I mean,
yeah.
You want them to be better, to learn from our own mistakes. Now, my kids had many more things to learn than yours. I get that. But
I would beg to differ. But yeah, okay.
But one of those things is how to handle Minnesota sports. And you know, your son, my son, we were on that collective texting thingy when the games were on.
Yeah.
And you can feel the angst, the despair, the the thing we've lived through. We've not done a good job getting our kids ready for that. You and I, it's like, okay, look at that. We lost. Knew it was coming. We've not trained them well, Paul.
No, that, you know, they're young. They've got so much hope, Al.
That's what we ruined it. We should have crushed that out of them at an early age, because then they wouldn't be hurting like this today.
Yeah, maybe that's it. You know, it just, you know, how do you enjoy the season when you get this close and you can't, you know, yeah, you're right. It
was just fun to watch. We're sending texts, and you know, when we lose the first, we're going to win this in 5. I think that was your son. Yeah. We're going to win in 5. I said we could win this in 4. We've got, and you know, and then you lose. Well, we'll get it in 6, no problem. Then we lose. It's 6 guaranteed. And then we won the 3rd game, and that's the Minnesota thing. You lose 2 in a row, we're all like, okay, reality, this is it. We got as far as, and then you blow out win. Now those 2 boys were, we found out, we cracked the code.
Yeah, we cracked the code. Yeah.
And then a 30-point loss. It's us, Paul. It's us at that age. It's who we are. They are living that.
Yeah. You know what? No, it's I don't know. I'm feeling a little Star Wars. It's like you can't escape your destiny, right?
Yes, Yoda.
You can't escape your destiny. You're a sports fan. You're going to do they're doing the same things that you and I did.
Absolutely. It used to go back to the Kevin Garnett times, all the Viking stuff. This is exactly what we are. And it's funny, and nationwide they make fun of us for this, just a Minnesota season. But we do. We live this. You know what? And that's why we hate Wisconsin more, because they don't understand this.
Oh, yeah. I agree. You know, they've had more recent championships than we have with the Packers and the Bucks. You know, the Bucks won that in COVID, and so it's just it is what it is. But you know, the one thing I thought was, here's your bad silver lining. There were no moral victories. We're normally really good at moral victories. There were no moral victories here at all. You know. Go for football. You know, we played well. We tried hard. We couldn't hang with Ohio State. But, you know, for 3 quarters, we did. There was no. The Oklahoma City's a great basketball team, and it's just it is what it is. Now you look at Indiana, New York, and, you know, Knicks won last night. But Indiana's going home. They should close it out. There you go. ESPN, come on over to Indianapolis and cover your finals. Does it get better? Yeah, it gets better. You're going to Oklahoma City, which I've never been to, but I hear it's kind of like Moorhead. I mean,
sorry, Moorhead.
Yeah.
This is as bad as it gets for all the announcers. All the announcers are praying to God the Knicks can find a way. Good for them. But let me ask you this, Paulie, because all 3 of my boys played basketball, and I'm a big defensive basketball player. I absolutely love this OKC team. You go 21 turnovers. As much as that's horrible, it is because OKC pressures every flicking thing. They're in the lanes. These guys are well coached. I like that part of it. But my kids in 6th grade, if they had 9 points at the end of the quarter, we'd be thinking, okay, 6th grade. You can't. I mean, it was over in 12 minutes.
Yeah. It was, shots fired across the bow, and either you had an answer or you didn't. Also, when you're going on the road, you got to do the punching first. You can't just take that, because the crowd energy is just you're not going to surpass that. If the first thing you do is get a lead, you kind of take the crowd out of it a little bit. But yeah, that it was over from the get-go, and so it was what it was. So here we stand. It's we're heading into the without a team in the finals, either sport, hockey or basketball.
It's baseball.
It's all about Twins. The Twins, because once we hit training camp, everybody's going to be talking Vikings.
Yeah, OTA started.
It's baseball and golf. That's what we have to talk about.
And that's not necessarily a problem. Before we get off of the Wolves, the Wolves made no big trades going up into this season until 2 days before practice, before training camp. And that was the Randall DiVincenzo for Cat.
Yep.
Do you believe that worked for anybody? All of us were in that Western Conference Finals last year. We're all in the Western Conference Finals this year. We're all going home after the Western Conference. How do you feel about the Randall DiVincenzo Cat trade? Now it's over.
At first, I was very down on it, and they took a long time to kind of gel and figure it out. But you look at, by the time they got to the end of the season, what was it, 26-5?
Yeah.
In the last 31 games, and so they did figure it out. And Randall's just got that beef that that Carl really didn't have. He's got the length, but Randall's got the beef, and so I like that a lot. He was very clutch in a lot of the postseason games, so he kind of got that monkey off his back. I like it. We saw some flashes out of Terrence Shannon. We're going to need him next year. I don't know what the contract situations are, but boy, if you could add, one more scoring piece of it, and up your defensive intensity, I like it. Ant's what, 23?
23, yeah.
Good
and we've got
grief.
Terrence Shannon's in that ball game. We have Robert Dillingham, who we literally traded up to get to be a point guard. I'm not ripping Mike Conley, but he loves Mike. Mike's supposedly the greatest guy of all time. I think Mike scored a total of like 9-10 points in the 5 ball games.
Yeah.
Defensively, he's getting old. He couldn't keep up with these young kids, not blaming him. But at some point, you got to say, Mike, be the cheerleader on the bench. Talk to these guys. But
be the backup point guard and bring somebody along for driving the ship a little bit. Yeah, and it's probably time. I'm sure he's feeling all of his 18 years in this league.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but he knows this is a very good team, and this is as good a chance as he's going to have to get a title. So,
see, but I've always said this, and I like the Randall DiVincenzo trade. Because again, just the money we saved with Cat moving out is going to be able to help us in some ways. I'm not a Rudy Gobert fan, shocker to anybody who listens to this program, but you've got to change something up. I take those guys, you take that starting 5. Conley's you got to get a point guard who can score. Somebody who can take some load off. He's not it anymore. The defensively, I love this kid that came in, this Shannon Jr. Get Dillingham in there. Let's start running this, because I think the game, if you watch this in Indiana, the game has become a young man's lengthy, long-armed young men basketball games, right? Even you look at Rudy Gobert against, what was their guy's name? Chet Holmgren, right? The 2 big dogs. Chet Holmgren is the new big dog thing. It's you can shoot the 3, you can dribble the ball, you can spin around and be the big guy with his hands in the air for defense. Yeah. That's not Rudy's game. Rudy's the old man big game. Yeah. We've got to change our lineup to fit that mold, because I think defense is coming back in basketball, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something. But it's, I don't know. I'm starting to turn the corner. I'm still disappointed because, this was our chance. And 30 what years? 34 years since a championship. It's been a long, long drought. And this was our shot. So
hopefully our kids learn something, Paul. I hate to laugh at it. You could actually feel the tears in the texting. It was like, did he just do that? I'm like, God, don't cry, son. This is what happens in Minnesota. We'll go to break. We'll talk about the other squad that we do have to talk about these days. Your Minnesota Twins with Minnesota's Sports Lifer.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jay's can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is a guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052.
Amongst friends, the Al Travis Show. Nothing but talk.
We got Minnesota Sports Life. We're going to hear Paulie, big baseball guy. Paulie, this is such a weird start to this baseball season. If you had told me going into June, Detroit was going to have the best record in the entire baseball, in all of MLB, I would have said you're chewing some of them funny gummy bears you can get in Minnesota now. Then you say to me, after we started, 0-5, 0-7 as a Twins fan, that by the time we get to June, we'd be 500 or 5 games over 500. I said, you're smoking them gummy bears again. This has gotten weird, and this Central is the place to play. 3 teams, all 30-game winners, and we're 6-7 games out from first place. Your thoughts on just the season so far?
Yeah, it has been strange. But for the Twins, it's been good. We had a nice bounce back. Detroit was good last year. They got into the playoffs. You know, they were on the upswing. Yeah. But I didn't see this level, coming that quickly. And some teams we expected to be really good, really struggle out of the gate. The Braves are working it, but I think it's kind of fun. Again, it's the same storylines we had in basketball. Welcome to flyover country. You might have to go to Detroit for a playoff game. You might have to go to Cleveland again. I mean,
well, if I'm not mistaken, Paul, tell me how this works, but if the playoffs started tomorrow, Yankees, Detroit, Mariners, all in, and the 3 wild cards are us. You'd be zooming all over Middle America just getting into games.
Welcome to Kansas City, baby. Yeah, let's go. I love it, and it's. There's something about the Minnesota sports experience that we've got the chip on our shoulder from the East and West Coast. That so let's just have our teams beat those teams, and so far that's happening. You go out and you sweep the Orioles, and you take 2 out of 3 with Boston, and that was. It's good. Again, we've got some things in our lineup that are struggling, in terms of, our batting average isn't that great, but 2 things. The pitching's been really, really good. Really good. Yeah. Overall, both the starters and the bullpen. And 2, it's those young guys. Cody Clemens coming out of nowhere, and he's clutch. He's hitting late home runs. When they're healthy, Correa and Buxton are delivering. They got to stop running into each other in the outfield, and we'll be fine.
No. Well, a couple things on it. Let me throw this at you. Yeah. You're the coach. You get to be coach for the day. How long does Royce Lewis get to struggle? 0 for 24. I think that's like almost 6 whole ball games. Not a hit. How long do you let him continue to toil like that? Because, like you say, you just said Cashall and the Clemens kid, they want to hit the ball, and they're hitting the ball.
Yeah.
When do you make moves?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I was at a game last weekend when my daughter was in town, so I went to the Saturday game. The beautiful walk-off, super fun, one of the best Twins games I've ever seen in person. It was just awesome. Royce Lewis sent one, to 400 feet to left center field. So it's not like they're all pop-ups. A lot of times it's you hit the ball hard, just at somebody. So I think they're going to give him time. He's a clutch player. I think if you start seeing, the levels of strikeouts or nothing but pop-ups and grounders, then it'd be go to St. Paul, work on the swing. But right now we need production up here, and you're not delivering. So I think they'll give him a little more leeway. But the good news is, we've got guys pressuring to get some at bats, and we it's not like we have a big drop off right now.
Talking about the Correa Buxton running into each other deal. These guys have been playing baseball, 6th grade, right? You've got to call somebody off. How do now Buxton, he runs into walls, for heaven's sakes. I mean, I'm going to blame this on Correa. It had to have been the center fielder's ball. You got to get out of the way. To take 2 prime players like that to bean heads together chasing a fly ball doesn't make much sense in the big leagues.
No, it is the center fielder's ball. Way easier to come in on that ball rather than go out, with your shortstop. You got your 45-degree angle, you're back to the infield, or who knows what. That is center fielder's ball. I don't know whether he called it loud enough or what. You got to appreciate the hustle, but you also got to be aware. And Buxton's got wheels, man. He'll get there. So take a look, get out of the way, let him take that ball. And but what are you going to do?
That's why they set those little rules up. Yeah, but that's what we said about Buxton. Was it 2 years ago, and he ran into the wall so hard? Well, he was trying to make a play. Yeah, okay, you didn't make it, and now you're out for 3 months with the shoulder thing. 2 of our best players out for concussion. Let the ball drop. Your worst case is that. Let the ball drop. We could use you next inning.
Well, that's hard. You're hardwired to not let anything drop. You remember the phrase a couple years ago? Nothing but raindrops fall out here, I get it. But Correa he's got to let Buxton take that ball.
Yeah. And like you say, he'll get there. You got to trust that he'll get there, because he does get there. He's that fast.
He is.
All right.
He's that fast.
No one's going to get to see any of the games. Well, I guess that's not true. The game tonight, no one's going to see. Would you say up for a 9-10 start for the Seattle game tonight? No.
Absolutely. West Coast road trips are the best. You put on some popcorn, you crack a beverage, and you park it in front of the TV. You don't have to worry about Netflix. You don't have to worry about. You just chill out and you watch a ball game until midnight.
But it's so late. Okay, I won't watch tonight's game. Garen flipping to you. But tomorrow now, 6:15, and then a 3:00 Sunday game. Those are manageable. A guy could see 2 out of 3 of these. But my question to you, other than
the guy who's got an 80-year-old's schedule,
Well, when you eat at 3:30, 4 o'clock, you can't stay up that late. You get very hungry. Stop. Your question to you, Seattle, 2 out of 3. Can we do it? We've got Matthews, Ober, and Paddock coming up. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and Zebby Matthews wasn't bad. That he pitched the game I saw, but yeah, with Ober and Paddock, he had 2 back-to-backs that were brilliant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think so. Seattle's good, but yeah, I think so. And we're coming off an off day, so our entire bullpen is rested tonight. So yeah, let's do it. 2 out of 3 in Seattle, and let's take care of the Mariners. I love it.
Give it to me quick. I know the main thing is doing a things here somewhere. Where are you doing it? When you doing it? And then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, it's Saturday, June 6th. So my gosh, it's a week from tonight. So we'll be at Neeson's, and yeah, doing our cover band thing, 80s, 90s, and current for a rock and roll dance party.
And Neeson's, that's the sports bar and grill where you get food, beverage, and great music, correct? I mean, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's a sports bar and grill.
And grill. See, the grill thing, when they added that to bars, it really took off. Got to fly. We're out of time. Paulie, Minnesota Sports Life on the Al Travis Show.